Suns fans, this is Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin. Let's get this baby off the ground, starting with a quote of the day. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed, end quote. That's from the guy that didn't make his JV high school basketball team, and his name was Michael Jordan. And he went on to do Michael Jordan type stuff. There's a quote in my sixth grade classroom, Maryland Elementary in Phoenix. It said, "Success lies in not being the best, but doing your best." You're welcome. Sincerely, Dad. But you can't look past your failures, because how are you going to learn anything? We're going to get to that Rocky Balboa quote soon too. But I think about stuff like that. Like, if you really think you're failing, if you really think you're just screwing things up. Now, if you're screwing things up for other people and you're messing up other people's lives, that's legit failure. And unless you learn from that, yes, you would rightly so, be called a failure. But if you're trying your best and it's not good enough, try again. It's not about being the best, but just keep plugging away. Get him, slugger! Anyway, that's the quote of the day, and I love the fact that it's from Michael Jordan, because if you're going to take advice, and Michael Jordan's not really the most quoted guy, right? Not a ton of quotes. That's a pretty good one, though. Nothing much going on with the Suns. The Suns' internal lawsuits suck. Oh my God, and we'll talk about them if we feel the need to. But this is the biggest story in the NBA right now, because it has repercussions for every possible team, and it could lead to a lot of investigations. And it's scary to think that this might be happening. It's also, I probably wouldn't be too surprised, and I hope I'm not being cynical, but Pablo Torre, investigative reporter, podcaster, former ESPN contributor, reported Wednesday that LA Clippers and owner Steve Ballmer paid Kawhi Leonard $28 million through a now bankrupt company owned by Ballmer. Some are calling it a shell company. This is a very good way to get around the NBA salary cap. Torre's got receipts. He found a truckload of internal documents from the company, Aspiration, which Ballmer partially funded with a $50 million investment through his personal LLC in September of 2021. Oh my God, $50 million to Ballmer? That's like you and I having a 20 in our pocket. Later that month, the Clippers announced a $300 million partnership with the now bankrupt Aspiration, including sponsorship in the team's new arena and on the team's jersey patch. According to Torre, Leonard agreed to a 4-year, $28 million endorsement deal in April of 2022 through his LLC, KL2 Aspire. The endorsement deal came 9 months after Leonard signed a 4-year, $176.3 million contract to remain with the Clippers, the maximum allowed at the time under the NBA CBA. A clause in one of the documents says that the deal between Aspiration and KL2 Aspire would be voided if Leonard left the Clippers. Now think about Kawhi Leonard. And think about Kawhi Leonard has a foot out the door, and I don't care how long he was with the Spurs, how short he was with the Raptors, how long he's been with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, his brain chemistry is what else? That's just how he's been wired always. So that's something that if I'm an attorney, I'm going to point that out. An unnamed employee who worked with Aspiration told Torre that the payment to Leonard was to, quote, circumvent the salary cap. That's exactly why you start a shell company, invest $50 million, get more than half of it to this one guy to make sure that he stays with you, and then the company goes away. The Clippers responded, quote, how do you think they responded? Neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to Aspiration. Growing up with a father who's an attorney, that's exactly how you respond to something like this. Continuing the quote, the team ended its relationship with Aspiration years ago when Aspiration defaulted on its obligations. Here's the quote. Neither the Clippers nor Mr. Ballmer was aware of any improper activity by Aspiration or its co-founder until after the government instituted its investigation. The team and Mr. Ballmer stand ready to assist law enforcement in any way they can, end quote. It's a pretty solid argument now. It also means that Ballmer, with the amount of money that this guy has, it's really going to be hard to pin it on him. I genuinely believe that Ballmer did this to make sure that his player was happy. You're allowed to start a company and fund a player's outside company, but it feels like this is what they were doing, and it's also possible that Ballmer had no idea that this is what Kawhi Leonard and the company were doing. Anything's possible. Aspiration filed for bankruptcy in March 2025. The company is under federal investigation for fraud. And Aspiration co-founder Joe Sandberg pled guilty to 2 counts of wire fraud in late August to defrauding investors and lenders of more than $248 million. That has nothing to do with Kawhi getting paid. That has nothing to do with Ballmer knowing or not knowing. That's just the guy that they had run it did wire fraud. Under the circumvention rules of the NBA's 2023 CBA, teams can be punished for circumventing the league salary cap. I would hope so. Penalties can include fines up to $7.5 million, direct forfeiture of draft picks, voiding any player contract, and a suspension up to a year for any team personnel found to have engaged in such a violation. This happened in 2000 with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did a side deal with former number 1 overall pick Joe Smith, where they offered him multi-millions of bucks after he signed a contract to play for the Timberwolves. The league found out. Kevin McHale and I think, was it manager or the owner? Kevin McHale, owner Glenn Taylor, they get suspended for a year. The Timberwolves are ousted of 5 future draft picks, and they had to pay this, $3.5 million fine. And then they voided the contract for Joe Smith. So that did happen. The CBA is like kind of weirdly sacred to the NBA front office. And you start messing with that, then it is the Wild West and no man's land. And you can pay anybody what you want, regardless of what it says on paper for the NBA contract. If you can start circumventing, that's really dangerous. Then you could have it. Then you could have a dream team like on the Knicks, like the 12 best players in the league could be on one team. No, we're under the salary cap. Everything's fine. So obviously, you can't do that. Whether this is true or not, one thing is true: the Clipper curse is real. They cannot get the stink from the LA Sports Arena off of them. They cannot get it off of them. I wonder if it started in... No, Buffalo did okay. Just horrible ownership. And then they were in San Diego, and then they moved to LA, and everybody said, why do we need another sports team in LA? And when the Sonics moved to Oklahoma City, people said, get the Clippers to Seattle and get the Sonics back. The Clippers cannot get the stench off of them. There's a lot of Spur and Raptor fans going, wow, that's a shame, isn't it? So anyway, that is what's happening in the NBA, and I thought it was much too important not to talk about it. So moving on to your comments, and this is going to bleed into the 15 and the Kevin Durant situation. There's no Kevin Durant situation, but as of the last Suns latest, he's not on the 15 anymore. Today we're going to put the 15 on. But anyway, bye-bye KD. We'll get to that in a second. Comments at Guzmana895. Boy, do the Clippers have that San Diego stench now more than ever. LA Sports Arena stench. I saw a Clipper game, Clippers against the Suns, when the Clippers had an injured Bill Walton. Lloyd Free was on the Clippers back then. And they annihilated the Suns at the San Diego Sports Arena, which does not have a stench. The LA Sports Arena has a stench. Get it right, Guzmana. Love you. But, the other thing about the Clipper thing up top, how many teams do you think might be circumventing the CBA that aren't getting caught or reported on? That's a scary thought. From Broken Toastable, some of these handles, buddy. Would much rather have Giddey than White. Last Suns latest, we talked about a possible Jalen Green for Kobe White and Vucevic, backup center for the Chicago Bulls. He's actually the Bulls starter. I'd do that trade in a heartbeat. And yeah, I'd want Giddey too. I don't think we can get him now. Kobe White and Vucevic contracts, because Vucevic's got an expiring contract after next season. I don't know what Kobe White's contract is. The Bulls like him, but we've talked about this before. The Bulls love to get rid of their good players for whatever reason. They just do that. Kobe White, 20 points, 4.5 assists, would thrive with Devin Booker. He is a system guy, and it will do what he is asked. He'd be a perfect starting point guard for Devin Booker, and he's a dog. I like the way he plays. At N Stackerns. Hi, Suns latest. I think the Phoenix Suns will surprise a lot of people this year. I think we're going to be better than ESPN says. I think the rookies will be fine. Kobe Brea will make a name for himself. A lot of young legs, a lot of new coaching staff. We'll see, but it looks like we got some players, as the Suns always do. We always get a couple of gems in the draft. I'd like to see it happen. At Curious Mind 2525, my man, thank you so much for always commenting. Your insights are absolutely phenomenal, and you always make Suns latest better, so thank you ahead of time. Watching Kobe Brea have that confidence to let it fly during the Summer League reminded me of Book tossing it up in his rookie year effectively enough to become a starter in the second half of the season. Yes, he's another shooting guard, but Kobe Brea has that stroke. Kobe Brea can cut back and forth between the G League and the Suns this year for 50 games. He's the one rookie who has a discernible, specific skill, and all the rookies they look pretty good. He's the one with a mofo of an offensive skill set. and Kobe Bryant slides in there and starts taking relief when Devin Booker sits, we shall see. Boomer Bro 43-48. Great work in Kobe Bryant. Thank you. Only thing is he's a shooting guard, which Suns have like 6, including Booker, who is the main guy. True, but once again, what I just said before, I'm not going to repeat myself. At Pomiferous, I'll take Larry Nance over Alvin Adams. Love Larry Nance. Got a poster of Larry Nance right here. Larry Nance was also a cool guy. He was one of the most accessible guys to kids going to watch the Suns play at the JCC for practice. Larry Nance would just hang out and talk to kids, and he gave my friend, future NBA rep Billy Kennedy, rides home in his badass Camaro, which he still has. Love Larry Nance. Did a lot of good for the Suns. Instrumental in bringing KJ, Mark West, Ty Corbin, and a draft pick that turned into Dan Marley in the trade that sent him to Cleveland. But I'm not taking Alvin Adams off that 15. Alvin Adams had a bigger impact. He was a huge part of us making our very first ever NBA Finals. He was a rookie that year. He was a starting center, and he had to go up against Dave Cowens, 2 years removed from being the MVP of the league, and he held his own. And Alvin Adams was Rookie of the Year that year. He was an all-star in his rookie year, and he played for 13 seasons, all for the Suns, did whatever he was asked. Alvin Adams is not getting moved out of the 15 for Larry Nance. Not going to happen. BYB Boxing. That trade has happened with the Suns twice, Kidd and Nash. What trade? Which trade specifically are you talking about? I know they were traded and we got Nash back. Let me know what's up. At Hammer Don PHX, maybe J Kidd doesn't get all the love he deserves because he wasn't an elite scorer. I don't believe he shot many threes as a Sun. We've had so many players that can drop 40 any given night, and J Kidd just wasn't that guy. No, he wasn't. But testament to how truly great Jason Kidd was is that he didn't have to score 40 to dominate a game. Remind you of anybody? Reminds me of Bill Russell. Change the game with defense. Change the game with his mind. Coach on the floor, eventually, literally a coach on the floor. Jason Kidd, same mentality as Bill Russell. Bill Russell averaged, 16 points his entire career? That's pretty much what Jason Kidd averaged for the Suns. We as fans and students of the game need to remember facilitating, defense, rebounding, outthinking the guy guarding you, outthinking the other coach on the bench. Jason Kidd did all that. One of the very few players in the league that didn't need to score 20 points a game to absolutely dominate and demoralize another team. Jason Kidd was that guy. And if needed, Kidd could drop 30. Why? That's how smart Jason Kidd was, and unselfish, and such an incredible team player. Jason Kidd didn't need to score. But guess what? 2.0 seconds left in a game 7. Jason Kidd's on the floor. You're probably going to go to him, or you're going to go to him and he's going to find a better shot underneath for an easy high percentage shot. That's how valuable Jason Kidd. So much more valuable than a scorer. I'll take Jason Kidd all the time, and that's a really good point to bring up. But we are Suns fans, but we should be students of the game and realize that it's not all about scoring. At Nevetsov, Neveetsov. Apologize for screwing up your handle. If the measure for 15 is tenure, accolades, playoff success, and team culture, KD kind of tanks on all fronts. Great player, doesn't fit the criteria. Also, is Hornacek's status for the 15 impacted by his coaching stint, or are we just taking into account playing with respect to his son's legacy? And please keep up the great content. First of all, dude, get your own show. That's really good stuff and really good questions and great insight. And thank you very much. Trying to do what we can. Now, the coaching doesn't affect. KD is already out of the 15, and we're gonna wrap this up in just a few. Hornacek is so loved by Suns fans, including the one right in front of you. But he's a one-time All-Star, and he was a third option during his peak. Even though one year he did lead the Suns in scoring, but I think KJ was injured, and I think that was obviously before Barkley got there. Coaching doesn't factor in. Really good points. At Steve Postero 3071, I vote Hornacek and Van Arsdale in. Van Arsdale's in. KD and Amari Stoudemire out. KD is out. No way in Hades I'm taking out Stoudemire. Stoudemire had a huge impact for the Suns. Maybe it's just my drug-addled memory. This is you talking, not me, but I understand. But Amari was out to lunch every time we needed him. Not so. He got kicked out of a game unfairly when Nash got thrown in the scoreboard. He was having a great series then. KD was a great Sun, but this was not his best placement. I'm there with you, and that is why this headline says, bye-bye, KD. We took Kevin Durant out of the 15. I heard you loud and clear, and I looked it over, and I thought about it, and I did a deep dive on the four guys that might replace him. Kevin Durant is no longer part of the 15. The 15 now stands as Devin Booker, Charles Barkley, Steve Nash, KJ Stoudemire, Chris Paul, Sean Marion, Walter Davis, Paul Westphal, Connie Hawkins, Tom Chambers, Alvin Adams, Dan Marley, Dick Van Arsdale. And number 15 will be one of these four. And here's the arguments for the four that have a chance to get in. Two, for me, are no-brainers not to get in. The next two are difficult, but I think I know who it's going to be. The first one, because a lot of love from you guys, was Truck Robinson. One-time All-Star, one-time Western Conference Finals appearance. We got Truck in a mid-season trade. I forgot about this. He never averaged 20 points per game. He never averaged more than 17. And more importantly, he never averaged more than 9 rebounds a game for us. The guy led the league in rebounds the year before with the Jazz with a 15.7 average. But when he got to us, he decided to be a finesse power forward, and it was BS. He was the strongest guy in the team, one of the strongest guys in the league. Textbook box out, incredible rebounder, incredible mid-range. And he just chose not to. No matter what we did, he'd get a 20-rebound game every now and then, but he wasn't the enforcer. He wasn't the power forward we needed. And Truck fell short of a lot of expectations. Now, in those Western Conference Finals, Alvin Adams went down. We had to start, Joel Kramer? Truck did a great job. And if Alvin Adams had been healthy and we had played the Sonics, and we were playing the Sonics, who went on to win the title against the depleted Washington Bullets team, if Alvin Adams was there, we had a shot. Adams could hold his own against Jack Sikma. As good as Joel Kramer did against Jack Sikma, you knew in a 7-game series, it's not going to happen. Sonics go on to win. Sonics go on to get the title. We would have gotten it that year. Nobody thought the Bullets were going to beat the Sonics that year. Nobody thought the Bullets would have beaten the Suns that year. I love Truck. He wasn't the guy we thought we were getting, and I cannot put him in the 15. He was not a rise-to-it guy. He played his game, and he went home. He was always like that. The heart says yes. Everything else says sorry. Cannot put Jeff Hornacek into the 15. One-time All-Star. Led Suns in scoring 1 year at 20 points per game. 4 straight playoff appearances. 2 times in the Western Conference Finals. But here's the reason why I can't put Hornacek in. And Hornacek did everything you asked. One of the best team players you'll ever get. Hornacek, not including the Sixers, got greater when he went to the Jazz. He went to the finals twice with the Jazz as the most important third wheel. He was an incredible third wheel for us, but to get over the hump, we had to trade him for Barkley, along with Andrew Lang and Tim Perry, and some draft picks. We get Barkley, we go to the finals next year. We couldn't get past the ceiling with Jeff Hornacek. As great as he was for the Suns, I cannot put him in the 15 ahead of these next two guys. I just can't do it. Yell at me all you want. Dennis Johnson. This one gets tricky, but there is some gray area because the accolades are kind of unmatched except for the guy after him. First team All-NBA. First time he ever got it. Only time he ever got it was with the Suns. First team All-Defense 3 times. Only Suns player ever, besides the next guy who got 3 times All-NBA defense. 2-time All-Star, led us to our best record the year he got there. 57 wins at the time. That was the most we had ever won. 2 Western Conference semifinals. 1 first-round loss. Traded for Rick Rubin. Suns finished 12 games worse the following year. DJ goes on to win multiple titles with Boston. That stings. And I'm going to contradict myself with the next guy, but it's in a different way, and this is where the gray area comes in. And as much as I love DJ, I can't put him on the 15. His greatest success came before with the Sonics, where he won a title, and he won Finals MVP. And then after, obviously. And most people remember him as a Boston Celtic. Larry Bird called him the greatest teammate he ever had. DJ was the missing piece for that Celtic team. As great as that front line was, as good as Danny Ainge was, DJ got them over the hump. And that is why Bird said that about him. Ask anyone about DJ, they'll talk about his days with the Sonics, they'll talk about his days with the Celtics. You say, remember DJ was on the Suns for a couple of years, they'll be like, that's right, he was. And that's it. And that alone. The lore, the stigma, the myth of DJ and the Suns wasn't what it was supposed to be. DJ left the Sonics because he wasn't getting along with Coach Lenny Wilkins after they had won the title. DJ wasn't getting along with Coach McLeod from day one. Just didn't do what Coach wanted him to. Gets into a system, has a player like Bird where DJ isn't the man. It worked. And it's really strange to say that about Dennis Johnson, who I love. So this leaves us with Jason Kidd. And some people are going to say, he didn't go far in the playoffs. He wasn't with us long enough. Hold on. 96 to 2001. 5 years. Yeah. First season with the Suns, we improved by 16 games, more than DJ. Lost in the first round to San Antonio. In 98, he leads the league in assists and triple-doubles. The league had 7 assists combined. Jason Kidd had 11 by himself. Suns made the playoffs with Kidd 5 times in a row. Each year he was there. Lost in the first round his first 3 years with almost no one else on the team. Who played with Jason Kidd? Antonio McDyess? For a minute, that was going to work. Antonio McDyess could not stay on the floor. I'm really having a hard time remembering who played with Jason Kidd. I know Marion was there early on. It wasn't an all-star yet. I cannot for the life of me remember. I mean, I know Nash was on the team and KJ came back for a minute, but Nash wasn't Nash yet. I'm trying to remember who else was on the teams that Jason Kidd played on. Help me out here. I'm completely blanking on it. Advanced to the second round in his fourth year, lost in the first round his last year. 4-time All-Star with the Suns. Led the league in assists 3 consecutive years with the Suns. I screwed up on this. Not this part. First team All-NBA, 3 years in a row. He was also first team All-Defense 3 years in a row with the Suns. The following year, second team All-NBA, second team All-NBA defense. Jason Kidd's accolades were off the charts while he was with the Suns. And he did everything he could to get us to win. I know the playoff runs weren't deep. He didn't have much to work with. I know Kidd took the Nets, and the other thing, yeah, he took the Nets to the finals twice after we traded him for Stephon Marbury. I know he won a title with the Mavs way later when Dirk was losing his mind. I know we didn't crush in the playoffs without him, but without Kidd, we don't sniff the playoffs for 5 years in a row. So it's a bizarre thing to talk about, but that's an impact player. The only reason you're competing is because of one guy. Think about it. Go look back. Who was on the team? Would we have made the playoffs without Jason Kidd? Rhetorical. Would we have made the playoffs when Truck Robinson was there? Yeah, we were already making the playoffs when Truck Robinson was there. Would we have made the playoffs without Dennis Johnson? Yeah, we had Walter Davis and Alvin Adams. We would have at least made the playoffs. But ask yourself, be honest, of these remaining 4 guys, who are you starting your team with? Truck, Hornacek, Dennis Johnson, or Jason Kidd? It's actually a pretty easy decision. And because of that, since bye-bye KD, you're out, Jason Kidd goes into the 15. The 15 is now set. Argue all you want, but I think we're set. On the next Suns latest, what is it, Friday? On the next Suns latest on Monday, take the weekend. Think about it. How do you want to rank these guys? This has been Suns Latest. I'm Rich Rubin. I really appreciate you watching and commenting. You're making this thing and signing up. We're over 600. Thank you very much.